Catch yourself saying, I'm just so busy or I'm exhausted, and you do this all the time? First thing in the morning, somebody asks you what you're doing, and you start listing all the tasks you have to do that day. You say these I'm too busy statements to make yourself feel as if you're accomplishing life. But what if I told you that those words might be scripting a reality that you don't actually want? Let's dive into how the struggle might not be as real as you think. Welcome back, sophisticates. I'm Davina Dandridge, here to unpack a game changing concept: the power of words and how they influence your emotions, your dealings with people and situations, and ultimately, the future you create for yourself. Too often, people wear the busy like a badge of honor. But are they really advancing towards goals, or are they stuck in a cycle of complacency? So many times people get into a trap of complaining and venting. But let's talk about the power of our words. When we consistently complain or vent or say we're tired or overwhelmed, we're not just describing our day, we're shaping our mindset and subsequently our reality. All of this venting and complaining stems from your emotions. And maybe you're busy and tired. I get it. I've been exhausted from all the tasks I've had to do, or family, or for my career, in order to take care of my life properly. I mean, it requires that we do some things. There was a time when I worked full time, I taught multiple classes, I was in school myself, and I still took my daughter to school, and I still had to clean up the house and cook dinner and spend time with my family and take care of my husband. I mean, sometimes I was overwhelmed, but most of the times it was okay to me because I understood that the things that I was complaining about, like running the errands or having to fill out reports after work, when I got home, was part of the job that I signed up for. I realized that there were women that I knew that lived in my building or that I saw at work that would be happy with some of the tasks that I dreaded doing. So, what made me stop complaining? And it was that I exercised a principle of positive thinking, whereby you cultivate a positive mindset, which transforms challenges into opportunities. So you can look at a challenge in a different way once you start focusing on the positive outcome that could possibly happen instead of the negative. And I could tell you a story really quickly. One Thanksgiving, my husband and I left home. It was actually the day after Thanksgiving. It was Black Friday. We left home to go Black Friday shopping, and my mother and my daughter were at our apartment, and something happened, and there was a smoke fire. And then they had to leave the apartment, and then the fire hydrants came, and then I got a call over the phone, and we had to come back to the apartment. And then, everybody is upset. And I'm like, wow, I'm thinking it's just a fire in the building because we had had some fires in the building, but it was in my unit. And normally people would be upset. What are we going to do? Well, look, I knew I had taken care of my business. Some of the things that I thought were laborious, like making sure I had insurance and, doing all that kind of stuff. Some things people just overlook or don't do for some reason. Well, anyway, at a time where someone who had not mastered their emotions or had not started developing the principle of thinking positively and focusing on the positive instead of the negative might have been upset. But you know what I said? I said, there is something good coming out of this. There has to be something good coming out of this, or it wouldn't have happened to me and for me. You can look at challenges and opportunities differently because they influence both the emotional well being and your life outcomes. Your emotional well being, because you can't just get upset because things happen to you. And then your life outcomes, because what you do in that moment is what determines what happens in your future, even the words that you say. So I always say that your emotions impact your thinking. and your thinking impacts your behavior, and in this case, what you say, and then your behavior creates the environment right now and in your future. So, whatever action you take, particularly what words you say, really matter. So, this focus on toil rather than triumph keeps you locked in a state of struggle that might not even be a struggle, but you fix it in your mind to think that it is. Okay. So the action step that I want you to do to start focusing on the positivity instead of the negativity is to pay attention to your behavior and write down how often you complain or vent in a day. Just do it one day and be honest with yourself about what you're doing. Then I want you to consciously replace those moments or statements with a moment or statement of gratitude or affirmations. And those will help you have the ability to handle those challenges differently. What I choose to do is I choose to replace those negative thoughts or that attempt to complain with the scripture. And then it allows me to take ownership of what my responsibility is and actually do what it takes to remedy that thing because I know that it impacts my quality of life. And my quality of life matters to me. Or why else do I go to school? Or do you go to school? Or do you exercise? Or do you do the things that some people think are struggle? Or do the things that some people just don't want to do or are not willing to do because their quality of life is such that they don't have to do it. But if you have a certain standard or a certain way that you want to live, then you have to do something to make that thing happen. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be challenging necessarily. It just means that it is what it is. That whole complaining and venting can change your mind and take you out of the purpose and the plan that you should be doing for your life. There is a power in quiet planning and delayed gratification. While it's tempting to seek immediate results and recognition when we do things, there's an immense strength to working in quiet and to embrace delayed gratification. Because when you work in quiet, you're not bragging or talking about how many tasks you have to do. You are executing a plan. You don't have time to be talking about how tired you are, or you're sleepy, or you had to run all of these errands. You know what? So what? So what? You are now in quiet, able to focus on the plan that you have. Because if you have made a conscious plan and you're actually planning on executing it, right? You're planning on executing it. You need to do that in quiet. You need to actually start the execution in quiet. And here's why. You are changing emotionally and curating a life that is different from the one you live right now. If you're at this point in this video and you want to find out if the struggle is real, you are open to changing from who you are right now to becoming the person who can do that thing that you've been wanting to do, to have those experiences and relationships that you have been thinking about and dreaming about all along, right? So, it is an opportunity for you to use emotional management to become an emotional planner. And then you'll no longer feel inadequate about certain areas in your life because that's the only reason why we complain and vent to other people. We have not placed ourselves as our future self and started taking action to make changes in our life. So we are inadequate. We're inadequate. But that's only in your control. It's not in anyone else's control. Because if you use self-worth to work on yourself, for yourself, and not just to prove your worthiness to other people, then you are on the right track of getting out of struggle mode and getting into prosperity mode, prosperity in every area of your life, in your relationships, in life fulfillment. You know, I have been inadequate or felt inadequate in some areas in my life because I used to share thoughts and plans about the things I wanted to do with people. But what I found is you must not share your plans with everyone, even if you're close to them, because sharing your plans in the planning phase can destroy your motivation and your passion. You must be stealthy. I like that word. You must operate below the radar. It's nobody's business. You don't even have to hint at what you're doing, burning the candle at both ends, burning the midnight oil, whatever you want to call it. If you call it hustling, that's you. I prefer not to. I call it working out my plan for my future self. And I can do that in quiet. And I'm not talking about being sneaky or deceptive in any way. What I'm saying is that it's all right for you to have some areas in your life that are private. You don't owe anyone a discussion about all the aspects of your life. And you don't want everyone's input, and you don't want to know all of theirs. I'm telling you, you don't, because you don't want that weight of their opinion or their struggle to become your deal. So, I've shared plans that I've considered for a long time. I've thought about things over and over, and then I've already made a plan to do something about it. And then I mention it to someone, people who I thought would support my ideas. And I've been shockingly disappointed more than one time about their responses. You know, why are you doing that? That's not going to work. Oh, I've heard that. That's not going to work. So and so tried it and it was a waste of time. Or they share their philosophies that don't align with your beliefs because they're false, right? And those ways of thinking, they share them with you. And why are you listening to them when they don't align with what you're thinking about? They might say something like, school is not for everybody. Or you're a helicopter mom. You need to give your daughter more space, give her more freedom so she can express herself. Or I wouldn't be checking in with my man. I'm grown. Most times we assume that the people in our lives that we love are more like us than they are. We assume because we've known them all of our lives, or they've known us for such a significant amount of time, that they understand us. But that doesn't mean that they understand. That doesn't mean that they're on the same emotional journey that you're on. And let me tell you this, they might not be prepared for the person that you're going to become. That's why you have to do it under the radar, because you don't need those influences telling you what you should desire. My book is called Do What Works for You, not Do What Works for the Peanut Gallery, right? So avoid getting set back or avoid staying stuck by working under the radar. You don't need other people's bad advice. You don't need other people's, myths crowding your dreams and your desires for what would make your life happy. So get out of making the noise about being busy. Leave that alone. 1 Thessalonians 4:11 says, and that ye study to be quiet and do your own business and to work with your own hands as we command you. This scripture encourages us to focus on our tasks, work diligently, and live a quiet life, applying a sense of privacy and reliance. Reliance because you're not venting and sharing with everyone else. So you have the opportunity to build your own strength, your own knowledge, and you can look back and know that you have done something for yourself. Any journey to a future of emotional, relational, or financial success takes time. Yeah, you could hit a lick or fall in love or manage your emotions in a new way. All of this. And when I say hit a lick, I mean you really find an opportunity to make real money, not anything criminal. All of this takes time. And delayed gratification is a concept that I test and apply all the time. So don't rush the plans you have for your future. If you properly plan your future using the bling concept, then time is just the time. It takes as long as it takes, however long it takes. Your emotional management allows you to have patience and allows patience to really work in your life. You're not rushing to get the accolades that most people do who want to have some type of fame or recognition. You're not fighting to be seen, or you're not even fighting to get money. It's for life fulfillment and satisfaction why you do things. And that's why you should do things. By practicing delayed gratification, you're curating the life that you desire. You're collecting the things, you're setting it up, you're putting it together, you're designing, you're creating. You are creating a lifestyle, not just a situation. If you plan quietly and execute and delay the need to show everyone what you're doing prematurely, then you're going to be all right. You're going to be on the track, on the road to where it is you want to be in your future. You don't need to get the buy-in. Don't become inadequate or remain inadequate. Build yourself up, no matter what it takes. If it takes looking at YouTube videos for 3 weeks to get the information that you need so that you can do things on your own, get the information, do it. You don't need to get everyone's advice about it. I've said before, you can't let the buddy system be your way of doing things for your life. Okay? Forget the buddy system. You need to take control of your life. So here's how we can start doing that. Develop a clear and actionable plan for the week. Focus on tasks, right, that align with your long-term goals. So I know you have things that you're already doing, but there are 24 hours in a day. If you start taking 30 minutes out of those 24 hours to focus on a goal or a plan that's just for you, specifically for you and no one else, that's what you need to do to start making change. Okay. So the task that you want to do should align with your long-term goals. Yeah, it should be something that you can start right now, but you're looking further into the future, not just what you need for this week, although that's your future too. But I'm talking about real change. I'm talking about something other than what you can really do right now. Okay. And these long-term goals, they don't offer instant gratification. That's why so many people don't look and can't continue doing what it is that they have a passion for, because they don't get the gratification right now. You might not get the money right now. It may take years before you're even seen as being qualified. It may take years before you get a piece of paper that you need in order to do that thing. It may be years before your reputation is built to the fact that you are getting some accolades, but you continue to do it, right? Because you're not worried about a struggle. You have a plan. So if you are struggling right now, that won't be your future self, right? This approach will help you build the future that you desire step by step. And what is the future you desire? You have to start envisioning your future self. And I don't mean just looking in the mirror. Your words should reflect the life that you want to lead. When you're talking about the struggle, that is an opportunity that you're missing to talk about the future you. Talk about your future self, the person who has achieved the goals, the dreams, and working toward those things that you want in your life. Talk about that person. This future self can handle what you aspire to because she is the product of intentional action and not just aimless busyness, right? So make a point not to talk about the things, the outcomes, and the situations that you don't want in your life. That's why complaining and venting are just a fuel for the struggle bus. You get more of what you talk about. So if you're always leading your conversations with, I'm tired, or I have so much to do, or I've been working my behind off, and I'm sorry for the attitude. I just don't talk that way. So this is my way of being different from me, right? I've been working my behind off. Then you're choosing more of these feelings or more of the level of work that you're doing right now for your future. What of your future self and your future life? How does complaining and venting lead you to the life that you desire? It doesn't. Your future life is in your control. Instead of using your words to complain, why not use your words as the means to design a future of emotional intelligence and sophisticated empowerment? Florence Nightingale said, I attribute any success to this: I never gave or took any excuse. This quote outlines the power of taking responsibility for one's actions and the words that you say and the role it plays in achieving success. So there is power in your tongue. Your future relationships are designed by how you use your words to describe your ideal mate and what your relationship should look like. So stop complaining about there is no good men out there or there is no one on your level. Because if you're saying these statements, then you might not even know what your level is, okay? Your future home, right? Your future location, your future environment is not just controlled by the opportunities that you get, they are controlled by your words. Negative talk about your incompetent boss or the blame shifting employees or coworkers that you have. It gets you more of that same thing. So if you're complaining and venting about what's going on in work in that same way, guess what's going to happen? You'll get more of that at work. So instead, start talking about the right people. Start talking about your dreams and say it to the people who really matter, the people who can contribute positively and have something to contribute, right? Start talking about your plans, about your promotion, about a career change, and then watch how opportunities open up for you because you started thinking and started talking positively. My video from last week, Stop Venting and Do This, I talk about how to use emotional intelligence in tough times and how to seek victory instead of venting. Your current circumstance doesn't determine your future. You got to envision yourself as the person who can be the person that you want to be, the person who can do the things that you want to do and have the things that you want to have. You should envision yourself without editing your dreams. I mean, just put it all out there. Put it all out there. And don't use your past as an indicator of what you can do in your future. Because if I looked at my past, all the things that I've started and thought that I didn't complete them, and so I somehow lost out on that, it would have impacted my future. I can't look at that. I can look at the things that I did complete and use that as fuel to move me forward. And even some of the things that I didn't complete, and I said this before, that was just how I saw them then. That's not how I see them now, because now what I know is even those things that I didn't complete, they added to the person that I am now. For back then, the person that I am now would have been my future self. So self-awareness will change the vision that you have right now for yourself, to go from seeing yourself as a workhorse or a busy person to a person who is working towards the goals, your specific goals, and who is capable of designing a life different from the one that you're complaining about. I use and have used vision boards, and I've done that for years. My favorite way to use a vision board is to use a digital vision board. I have a digital vision board that I created, and I have it on my phone, and it's in my notes. And every morning I go there and I watch my digital vision board. That is the way that I can visualize what it is that I see for myself in the future. And I've attached words to it, positive words. So not only am I starting my day in the best way, I am planning for my future. I'm, I'm planning for the conditions and the environments that I envision for myself in the future. So you can spend time, you can start right now visualizing yourself in the future. What does your future self look like? What is she doing? Where is she going? What has she built for herself? How is she helping other people? Consider what is the version of you. What would they say? What would they do? How would they think? And then begin to integrate these aspects of who your future self is or will be into your daily life right now. I'm not saying wait for the future. Your future starts now. You know, that sounds like a cliche. Your future starts now. It does. Because whatever action you take in the next 5 minutes, in the next 10 minutes, tomorrow or next day, is what you're doing in the future. Sophisticates, it's time to shift from glorifying the struggle to celebrating the journey towards triumph. Stop boasting about being tired or busy. Words have power, and by aligning them with your true desires and actions, you pave the way for a fulfilling life. Remember, the future person you dream of being isn't just a fantasy, she's a real possibility that begins with your words and the words that you choose to use today. So, for more insights on harnessing your words to shape a powerful, positive future, explore my book, Brains and Baubles Do What Works for You, where I delve deeper into creating a life aligned with your dreams and aspirations. And if you found value in today's discussion, don't forget to subscribe and join our community of sophisticates. And we're committed to transforming lives' narratives from struggle to strength. Until next time, live intentionally and unapologetically. Your sophisticated life awaits.